Here we are with the brand new a6100 camera that's going to start shipping here in, I think, a few days. It's October. I'm at the event space in New York City during Photo Plus, and this is Patrick Murphy-Racey. I'm a Sony artisan, and I always do, for every new camera, I do settings for sports photography with each camera. So this is settings for sports photography, the a6100. First of all, I am a JPEG shooter. I don't shoot RAW. I shoot way too many pictures to deal with RAW, so it's just easier for me and I can expose well. So here we go. So JPEG, I'm going to change JPEG quality to extra fine. I'm not going to leave it on fine because I want a little bit more. Aspect ratio is going to stay the same, 3:2. I want to use the entire sensor area to grab whatever I need. Long exposure noise reduction, I'm going to turn off because I do all that in post. If you don't know how to do that on your own and you're going to rely on the camera, I would leave it on. High ISO noise reduction, I'm going to leave on normal. That default setting is fine. Color space, I'm going to change to Adobe RGB. If you shoot RAW, this doesn't mean anything to you, so it's okay. Next thing, I'm going to keep going. Drive mode, I would of course be on high plus so that I can shoot at 11 frames per second, which is very handy for sports photography. Okay, focus mode is continuous autofocus. Out of box, these cameras often are set to AF-A, which stands for automatic. You do not want that. You want AF-C, AF continuous. So that's what you want there. Focus area. This is going to depend on what you're doing. There are 6 different focus areas, and the one I would recommend is flexible spot medium. When you go all the way to the bottom, you will notice that this camera has tracking ability. My favorite sports setting is going to be, it'll say tracking : flexible spot M. And that's going to be the best one to use. I can't access it right now because the only way I can get audio on this video is by leaving the camera's mode dial set to video, so it won't let me do that. But this should say tracking flexible spot M, and you'll have great results with that. It's pretty sweet. So going back, AF illuminator should be turned off. This thing will actually emit an LED beam out of the front of the camera. This is illegal in NCAA sports, even sports like baseball, field sports, but for sure in basketball, you don't want to have that beam coming out, and so I would turn that off. Face and eye AF set is not really required because you're going to use tracking autofocus anyway, so it's going to be built into that as it is. Now I am going to turn off AF with shutter. I turn it off. If you're an inexperienced photographer, leave it on. But if you're coming from Canon or Nikon and you've been shooting sports for years, you have to disable this in order, and then elsewhere in the menus you're going to turn on back button autofocus. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. Leave this on here, but I'm going to turn it off. Pre-AF should always be turned off. This setting will screw you up no matter what. It will always get you. It'll bite you. I'm shocked that it's on, but it means that this camera, like the a6000, comes shipped out of the box with pre-AF turned on. It should be turned off. It's going to mess you up. It's going to try to autofocus before you want to, and it's going to often jump off of things that you don't want to be, like you've already gotten focus on something and you'll let go, and it'll like refocus by itself without you doing it. So make sure pre-AF is off. I'm going to skip these. Okay, I particularly do not use auto ISO. I want to dial in my ISO on my own. And incidentally, this camera has a much better low light shooting capabilities, much better quality in the files than the a6000. So is this a big upgrade from an a6000? Yes. You're going to get tracking autofocus. You're going to get 4K video, and it's just, yeah, it's a big deal. And you're going to be able to shoot in low light and get much better quality. So this is a great little camera. Okay, I'm going to keep going here. None of that stuff matters. None of that stuff matters. I want to show you this too. Wireless flash, if you're using Godox and you're shooting a lot of weddings and portraits or whatever, or Dynalite or whatever, you'll want to say, oh, I should turn it on. I'm going to do wireless flash. This is only for Sony's proprietary OEM flash units and triggers. So leave this off unless you're using a Sony trigger and a Sony flash. If you're using Godox, which most people do, just turn this off, leave it off. White balance that's up to you. I'm going to kind of go down. I'm going to turn this off. This is going to automatically put a bunch of HDR into your pictures, and it will kind of reduce contrast. And I don't like that, so I'm going to turn it off. You can always turn it back on if you want to, but I don't like it. Creative style and picture effect are only able to be accessed in JPEG. So if you're shooting RAW only, these will be grayed out. You won't be able to get at them. Just FYI. Okay, and I don't need any of this stuff. Don't need any of this stuff. Nope. This is all movie stuff. I'm going to skip over it, but because this video is primarily about setting up for still photography for sports with the a6100. So I'm going to just skip over most of these. And yep. Okay, E front curtain shutter should be on. That's good. Notice how this one with card is release without card is enabled. I'm going to disable that. I do not want to be able to shoot without a card. I do want to be able to shoot without a lens because that might be a manual focus lens that I'm using as a remote or something. So that's okay. Steady shot I would turn on and leave it on. It's not going to let me do that in this setting. Let's see. I'm going to turn this off. I pretty much in the viewfinder only want to see clean lines and just, yeah, that's all I want. Okay. Live view display, setting effect on, that's right. Auto review I'm going to turn off. I think this is going to be off when it comes out of the box, but if it's not, turn this off because the camera is going to automatically try and show you what it just shot right after you lift up off the shutter release, and you're not going to want to do that. So this is a bad thing. Turn that off. Custom key, this is very important. So this is where I'm going to do my back button focus, and the AEL button on the a6100 is where you're going to do that at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit AEL, I'm going to push that in, and now I'm going to go try and find autofocus. And I'm going to go kind of fast because I went the wrong direction. Here we go. And I'm going to go to AF on. And now when I press the AEL button, which is number 1, it's going to automatically start focusing. So the way I've got the camera set, if you did what I did with my settings, your shutter release is only to fire the camera shutter. And if you want it to focus, it's AEL on the back button. It's your thumb. If you didn't do this, then it doesn't matter what you do here. So all is well. Okay, function menu set. I'm just going to point this out. What you can do is there's 12 different windows that you can put in whatever you want. So if you find yourself digging into these menus constantly, look for the same thing, it means that you need to put something in the function menu. And so some things like drive speed, I'm going to leave. Focus I would take out. Focus area you definitely need. White balance you definitely need. You're probably never going to use this. I don't ever use that. ISO is on the back button of the camera. So you just go through here and just decide, what you want to do, and you can set these up to your convenience. Okay, and then audio signals I'm going to turn off because if the camera doesn't have to make noise, I don't want it to. Okay, I'm not going to bother with all the Wi-Fi settings, but they're there. It's really easy. You should download Imaging Edge app for both Android and Apple from those respective websites, and you'll be able to shoot a picture in just seconds. You'll be able to look at them on your phone and send them. It's really cool, so you'll enjoy that. Okay, all this looks good. I don't see much I'm going to change yet. Yeah, all this is good. Okay, this one I'm going to change. Delete confirm. I want to delete first. It's going to save an entire key press. So this will make it quicker to delete bad frames when you're during a timeout or something like that. So display quality, this is very important to go up to high. This will give you a much better quality display than is out of the box. The reason why it's not set to high out of the box is the battery life will be extended. So when you do this, your battery life will decrease a little bit because it takes more power to give you more resolution in the EVF, but it's worth it. So power save start time 1 minute. If you choose to use this as a remote camera, there's 2 things I'd recommend. 1, go to 30 minutes so the camera will stay awake for 30 minutes. The second thing is it would be good to invest in a small, cheap, go on Amazon or something and buy a cell phone charging unit, a self-contained lithium-ion battery that's made to charge a cell phone. You can use this in the USB port, and you can keep the camera awake with a battery in it. It'll keep charging while the thing is sitting there. So even if you have to go 3 or 4 hours, your camera's not going to die, because these W batteries are not as good as the new Z batteries that are in the other cameras, the full frame cameras, and the a6100. So I'd recommend that if you're going to use this for remotes. Okay, that was a lot of talking. Sorry about that. And cleaning mode, touch operation. These are things that the a6100 does not have. So you can't do any touch pad or anything like that. You can't do 4K. All these things are new too, which is great. It's wonderful. But it doesn't affect sports photography. Don't forget to do your date and time setup and really be accurate about your date and time, because if you shoot with multiple cameras, you can then pull the images into your laptop or your home computer, and they'll be in the correct order even if you put them all in the same folder. So make sure that you really look at this carefully, and makes my editing job a lot easier. And let's see, file number, series, folder name, that's fine, it's all good. Okay, that's it. So this has been my settings for the a6100 for shooting sports photography. I really would encourage you to make sure that your camera is set to tracking flexible spot medium. This is going to be the best possible all-around setting to have you have success in your sports photography. This is Patrick Murphy-Racey, Sony Artisan, saying thank you for your patience. And if this video has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you have any comments or questions, put them below. Thanks so much. Have a great day.